the Steve and Bobby Show. My name's Steve Williams, and I'm here, of course, with Bobby Bleer, too. How you doing, sir?
What's going on, my man? I'm doing all right. Doing all
Doing
right.
good. Yeah,
Not
today
in the
you're remote,
studio, I'm
right?
remote, but hey.
Anyway, so we had in this past, I think this past election, but this past week we had a huge loss with RBG dying, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, which is probably one of the most effective Supreme Court justices probably we've ever had. She has been a huge giant in the court, in the Supreme Court. I mean, I don't know. There have been throughout the course of history tons of decisions that were made, but most of them were. I mean, RBG has sat on some pretty serious litigation pertaining to a lot of decisions that have put America exactly where we're at today. A lot of things that we are able to cherish is because of some of the decisions that both, that she made, and of course her peers have made as well.
Right.
She's a very, very important. If me as a poli-sci guy, when you're in college, some of the things that you learn in poli-sci is some of the decisions and some of the things that she did that were detrimental to a lot of where America stands as a country, right? It's actually, we did a entire semester actually of RBG herself, and by the way, I went to college in Missouri, so that's kind of odd considering the fact of where that is in the state. But she's well respected, even in a lot of universities, and even in conservative sides of the houses. There's a lot of things she's respected as well. So the loss of her is huge for America. Huge. There's a lot of litigation that's in the future where she is not going to be sitting on the bench. We were already tilted at 5-4 conservative already. The loss of RBG is a huge hit for us because now we're looking at a 6-3 court. It's probably going to happen. More than likely it will happen.
What we're being threatened
Bobby,
with
you could
is
help me out here and say,
well,
no, Steve, that ain't going to happen.
We are being threatened with the 7-3 Supreme Court. It just depends on what we do as a group. Thank you. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was someone who got to that seat for advocating for social justices. And she was a fighter. She never quit. She did it, and she proved to the world that you have to be a trailblazer. You have to move forward and do what's right and do what's just. And that's why she sat well on that in the Supreme Court. And she knew years ago. I think she battled cancer 5 times, 6 times, and she survived them all. And during Trump's term, she came down with cancer. We all thought she was going to pass away. And she survived, and she was merely like just saying, "I'm holding on because we can't let Trump choose the next Supreme Court justice. We just cannot." And she held on and made sure the world knew that she doesn't want him to pick it, right? And that's where we come into kind of our conflicts where we are today, where we're a month and a half out from electing a new president. Right.
Yeah.
A month and a half from electing a new president.
Well, actually, it's happening now, right? It's actually happening now, technically.
Right. Well, And so the idea is that he gets to choose the next one, and Senate would have to confirm, correct?
Yes.
And that's where we are in our arguments. And, before we make a decision on whether it should be done now or later on, I don't know, you wanted to show some people some stuff.
Yeah, so we're going to take a look at some things. See, this is the thing about the Constitution is very specific as to who is supposed to pick a Supreme Court justice and who votes on that pick. So before we show you all this stuff here right now, it's undeniable the fact that what Republicans are doing now is legal. Okay? So even though it's partisan politics, and it's always been about partisan politics in this sense, I just want you guys to see visually the hypocrisy of the modern Republicans. And these are Republicans that are presently serving right now. These are senators that sit on the Senate judicial committees that allow and pick Supreme Court justices like Tim Ellis and some of these other ones. But I want you to first look at Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell, of course, is the Senate Majority Leader in the Senate, and what he thought about Obama picking during his last, by the way, Obama had a year left. I think he had 11 months or some chunk left in his term when Scalia died. And when Scalia died, that, of course, opened up a seat. President Obama picked Garland, and these were some of the comments that Mitch McConnell made during that time.
Very different. Either way, our view is this: give the people a voice in filling this vacancy.
So basically, his argument is, which is okay if you want to do that. I think basically they were, of course, we knew what they were doing. His argument is that we, as this, President Obama as the president is allowed to pick a Supreme Court justice. But what his argument is, as Senate Majority Leader in the Senate, he has the right to actually put that to vote, right? That's what he's saying. That's his argument. This is right. Do you agree with that, Bobby?
Yeah, no, I mean, he's going to say whatever he wants to say to make sure that they get what they want.
Well,
but I mean, he kind of left out, he left out Obama, he left out all that other stuff. He's going to follow the Biden rule. And, I mean, basically, though, I mean, when it gets down to it, they always play to the people, right? Politicians will always play. This is for the people, and some mean it and some don't. Yeah. I mean, if he really did care for it, the people are going to speak. Let's just use his words, right? People are going to speak in November on who they want to choose. Who they want to be able to choose the next Supreme Court justice. And we are a month and a half out. Mm-hmm. And so what he is speaking is basically, kind of taking away from what is right, because he's saying, hey, look, the president has every right to do it. Senate has every right to confirm. But you know what? We should leave it up to the people. Okay. Let them have a voice. Yeah, let's do that. Let the people have a voice through this election cycle to see who should pick the next Chief Justice, right? I mean, the next Supreme Court justice. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have no problems with that, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a problem with waiting?
Let's look at so let's formulate that argument, right? So the argument is what you said. Everything that of what Mitch McConnell, the majority leader in the Senate, says, right? So let's look at what Lindsey Graham says. Okay, Lindsey Graham is formulating his argument prior to this as well, right? Let's look at what Lindsey Graham, and by the way, Lindsey Graham is in trouble right now, in case you guys don't know, out there in North Carolina. He is in some political trouble. He, right now in North Carolina, where Lindsey Graham is from, there, I think his name is Robinson. I can't think of the Senate. I should know it, but I think his name is Robinson, who is, he's basically neck to neck. In some polls he's ahead, some polls he's about tied, some he's about 1%. The fact is that he's in trouble over there in North Carolina.
Jamie Harrison, I think, or something like that?
Yeah, Harrison. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
I think that's the one that he is on him. But I want you to take a listen to what Lindsey Graham had to say on this subject. And he even goes as far as, you can quote him on it. Take a listen.
Justice Scalia dies in 2016. The primary process is ongoing. And if you look back in 100 years, nobody has been replaced under that circumstance. If you listen to what Joe Biden said in Bush 41, you should hold it over to the next election. Joe is right a lot. So I felt like I was doing the traditional thing there. When it came to Sotomayor and Kagan, I thought I did the traditional thing. Now I'll tell you this. this may make you feel better, but I really don't care. If an opening comes in the last year of President Trump's term and the primary process is started, we'll wait to the next election. And I've got a pretty good chance of being the judiciary.
You're on the record.
Yeah.
All right.
Hold the tape.
Yeah.
Hold the tape.
Right. We hold him to his word. You know, he already said he's going to lie. I mean, he's a liar. I mean, come on, give me a break. I mean, I love it. They both mentioned Biden, right?
Yeah.
The Biden rule, and he's mentioned, and he said Biden is right all the time. Biden is right a lot, right? The other one said Biden rule. So let's let Biden come in and rule. Let's get Biden in elected. And then, you know, he's right a lot. So, okay, let Biden get elected and he'll choose in his term, right? These guys already said, just take the words for it, right?
Oh, my God.
Or they're liars. Or they're liars.
Yes. The hypocrisy of it all. So let's continue this, because these are all powerful people within the Senate, right? These are very powerful people that are making decisions within the Senate.
Oh, yeah.
These are seniority leaders, senior Republican leaders, senatorial leaders within that body of government. Okay? All these guys are telling lies. Now, I want you to look at Mr. Ellis. I think it's Tim Ellis. Oh, no, it's Tom Ellis. Tom Ellis, right? Senator Tom Ellis, who actually sits on the bipartisan confirmation committee that actually confirms Supreme Court picks. I want you to listen. This is a Republican, right? Doing the same mess that the rest of them doing. Take a look.
Now, I will tell you that I'm also a member of the Judiciary Committee. Y'all may have heard that we have a Supreme Court nomination opening. I happen to be one of the senators who signed on to the letter to tell this president that we're not going to nominate a Supreme Court justice until the people have spoken. Now, just today, I was on the Senate floor, and I had Senator Schumer and Senator Leahy talking about how we're not doing our job. We're absolutely doing our job. They were talking about how we have a constitutional obligation to advise and consent. I said, we've done that. They said, what do you mean? I said, we've advised the president that we're not going to consent to one of his nominees. We're going to let the American people speak.
Again, I agree. Let the American people speak. What's wrong with that? Let the American people speak. They're going to speak on November 3rd. Let the American people speak. You know, I mean, geez, I never wanted to listen to these guys speak before, but now it's like, hey, look, they're onto something.
You know, I don't know, man. This is why I could never run for office. A, I think I'm too blunt. And B, I cannot just full force. You know, actually, stuff like this used to get me in trouble when I was in the service, because I used to speak my mind too much, and I hated people that were hypocrites and liars. And I used to always bump a lot of senior. You would run into people like this, who say one thing at one point and do something completely different. You know what I mean? And I used to hate it when it resulted in some of my Marines that were being misinformed. You understand what I'm saying? I don't understand how people like this can look at the American public knowing that there is video archive there. I mean, God, we got CNN, we got YouTube. How can these people say things like that and then just come back on and just act as though it was never said?
Right. I mean, Lindsey Graham obviously knew that this could happen. That's why he said it could happen, right? He knew it. But it goes to show what people are willing to do and willing to say just to win. I mean, that's why people don't like politicians. And I've always said it even when I was running. It's like, look, people hate politicians because they'll say whatever they need to say to win. And they won't ever come through to do something, right? And so this is exactly, these are perfect cases where they can make logical, valid arguments, right, for the right of the people, but they're not going to go with it because they don't believe in it. Right. So, you know, they are hypocrites until you know that they're just lying. And they're just lying. That's true. They're liars, man.
That's actually a really good say. They're hypocrites till you know they're lying.
Right. Because
I like that. It used to be a phrase.
Because you know that when to go along with them, because they're going to do things when they get a benefit. And then when it's not in their benefit, then they'll just go against it. So they never believed it in the first place. It's just how to convince you, right? And that's the most terrible thing. That's the most terrible thing. And so Lindsey Graham should be kicked out, especially, I mean, if he pushes forward with this, Jamie Harrison should win. I mean, those
I'm
people over there
thinking
say
this is
outright lied to us.
well, and this is why, if you know, there. By the way, even why we're mid through this, because there's actually more on this. We're going to get on Tom Grassley and Marco Rubio as well, but there are two pretty embattled senators that are in trouble as well. You had Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, who openly have said just yesterday that she will not be confirming a Supreme Court pick. She's just not going to confirm at all. It'll be a no vote for her, as well as help me, Maine, senator in Maine.
You know, when you do that, you can never remember the name.
I hate that.
But we know who you're talking about.
So
but the
her
one
as
that we
well.
want gone.
So her as well is she's in trouble, and she's actually 10 to 15 points behind in her race. So I don't think she is going to be able to even though she's doing a no vote on a Supreme Court justice. And this is one thing I didn't realize about Maine. I didn't realize that Maine was so moderate, but I guess Northeasterners are pretty. It's all pretty blue out there. Connecticut, New Hampshire, Maine, Rhode Island, all that. I guess it's pretty blue out there, mainly because of unions, I heard, or whatever is the case at the northeastern part of the United States. But they have downvoted. So let's look at Marco Rubio, because Marco Rubio, Marco Rubio, Florida boy, he's like Ted Cruz, just out of Florida instead of Texas. Take a
There
listen
you
to
go.
him.
We have an obligation to do it, but not now. The term of the Supreme Court is already, or they just started it, but it's not all year long. The court can function with 8 justices. It does it all the time, especially when justices have to recuse themselves. For example, Kagan had to recuse herself early in her term because she just left the administration. We're going to have an election in November where this vacancy is going to be an item of debate, and voters are going to get to weigh in. So I just don't think it's wise, and there's precedent for this, for a president nearing the last few months of his administration to put someone on the court that may be there for 30 years.
So I was thinking of Susan
There's
Collins,
so many,
by the way. It was Susan Collins.
Yeah, there you go. But there's so many interesting things about what he just said, right? One of them is like when we know that when Obama was about 11 months out, you said, 10 months out. Yeah. And he's, there's precedent for, a few months in, right? That's like us saying, you know what? We don't need to vote in another Supreme Court justice when he's just days away from election.
Yeah.
It's kind of true. It is days away. That's how we should, phrase it. We should also have we're days away from the election. We're days away. We're less than a few months.
Yeah.
Right.
We're
Less than a couple months. So I know we're days away. We're days away. We're days away from an election. We're going to choose another Supreme Court justice. We just had the most. He said it too. You can have less. You can have less judges. You can go with 8. That's absolutely fine. We do it all the time, and so we can do that. And his response to choosing a Supreme Court justice should be longer than the response to the pandemic. Where are his priorities, right? Where are his priorities?
Don't put him out there like that. Don't put him out there like that, Bobby. Don't do that.
Put him out. It's his responsibility, man. These
damn Republicans, man. I'll tell you what. Well, let me put it this way. These damn Republicans that are left, these guys that are left, all these moderate guys, Tim Rubio, man, don't let me get into Rubio because that's just a whole different subject because we're on this Bader Ginsburg situation. So, he makes a very articulate argument about his case, right? It's very articulate. I mean, he breaks it down. We shouldn't do this. We've done it before, blah, blah, blah. This is okay. You know what? You're right. So let's go by off. And then you're talking 11 and a half months. Now we're talking literally weeks.
Days.
Weeks.
I like days better.
Days. Days is better. Hours, minutes, seconds. So we got one last one. We got Senator Grassley. This guy lies all the time, so this ain't going to be unusual. Grassley's like the chief liar. You think Mitch McConnell's bad. Grassley walks out every single day and lies. But he's in a safe red district. So take a listen to what Grassley says. That'll be our end of our video for all these videos. So take a look.
People deserve to be heard, and they should be allowed to decide through their vote for the next president the type of person that should be on the Supreme Court. This is a reasonable approach. It is a fair approach.
And it is the approach that we should take.
So you finish it.
Playing it today.
Oh man, let me tell you, man. When RBG died, I was very selfish. I was very selfish in the fact that I just didn't honor the fact of what a great person she really was in filling that seat for all of us. A lot of us here benefited from a lot of the decisions that RBG did, and I was very selfish. The first thing I was thinking of, oh my God, a seat is open, what we're going to do, how we're going to fill it, instead of actually honoring RBG. And I think
that's good. I mean that you bring that up, but I do feel that the type of person that Ruth Bader Ginsburg was, right, is in the house she lives, in all of us, is that she always fought, for all of us, for the community and everything, and she was always in that fight. And in the end, there it was, it's the last couple of years, it was a fight to do her job, but more so stay alive. And she needed to, she felt that she had to stay alive for the safety of our country, for the continued forward progression of our country, that she had to stay alive, no matter what it was, stay alive until Trump is gone. And that's what she was fighting for. And she felt the way you did, in the sense, like, if I go, holy crap, how are we going, how are we going to fill this seat properly? So you were feeling it with her at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and she knew how important she was to this country, and she did her best to serve. And we have to respect that. At the same time, we have to continue her fight. As hard as she fought, we have to fight as well. Right. And so that's why, there's a lot of things that we can do. We know the Constitution, we know the rules, we know what can happen, but we also know that the Senate and our elected leaders are supposed to listen to us. And that's why they have hotlines and things to text message and to tell people, hey, let the people speak. Let the people speak through the vote on November 3rd. And do not confirm, don't consider, let's wait till the next president comes in. And that's the best that us as constituents, as citizens, can do, is tell our senators, our representatives, that this is what we want. And you have to do that. Be vocal. Let people know that, because that's where our power is in that. And in regards to this vote, right? And obviously, please show up and let's get Trump out of there. But, and Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham, we got to get them out of there.
So I'm gonna tell you, these past few days I have been extremely deflated. So I need you to tell me, okay? Because this Supreme Court thing, it's a loss, okay? It's just, we're going to lose that battle. What is our fight, Bobby? What is the fight that we need in order for this not to be for this not to hit us as hard, is what I'm saying. What are we going to need to do? I don't have we and you have talked about this, and I kind of know, I know where we're going on this, but I kind of want to, like, our fans and our people that out there understand, what does our fight need to be, Bobby?
Right. Well, one is we have to be unified and understand what our goals are. We've said it many times on this show, guys. When you vote for a president, it isn't just the president; it's the legacy that they leave behind and the judges that they select. Mitch McConnell, he said, I'll turn my blind eye as long as you give me the judges. That has been his goal, and that's what they have been going for. They've been prepping for this day. That's what they want to be able to do. And if we want to combat that, then we actually have to fight for it. Democrats have to fight for it, right? And if you're going to fight for it, and if they're playing dirty, we play dirty too. Yeah. You got to fight for it. And dirty just means playing by the rules, in the loopholes, taking advantage of what the Constitution allows us to do in all legal manners, not what its original intent, but legal manner, because Trump has been doing that all this time. The Republican Party has been doing it all this time. Saying, oh, it's legal, though. It's legal, though. So you know what? I mean, one of the options that did come up that we're not going to do, but a lot of people are wondering why we're letting Donald Trump get away with, just about everything that's illegal that he's been doing, is pull him up for impeachment.
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually a real term. Pull him up for impeachment. He can't confirm anybody. And then we'll go into the election cycle that way. Right. And then we'll see.
Yeah, this is what's disheartening for me, especially within the Democratic Party, because just some of the situations, me and you talk about this all the time in reference to what our party's doing, some of the steps that they're taking, and why are they not taking certain steps. We talked about this during the impeachment process. We talked about this through the numerous amount of scandals that Donald Trump has had throughout his first presidency here. And it's easy to get deflated. I'm telling you, man, the last 2 days I have been deflated. But I think one of the main things for me, and this is my new approach, is I concentrate a lot from the top down. I've always done that because it's just how we're programmed in that way. And meeting you and talking to you running for Congress, witnessing what I saw through that dilemma, I realized at a personal level, and having the fortunate of meeting a lot of people through you, right? I was able to meet Ted Lieu, Maxine Waters, some of those people. I would have never met those people had I never met you. Went to LA and did some of the stuff that we did politically, right? So I had a new approach in that sense of how important it is to work from the bottom up. How it is so important in local politics that we fight at the local level and work, because this is what Republicans did. Republicans had the foresight and had a collective understanding that judges were going to be priority for them. And they knew that, and they fought collectively for that. Whether you disagree with them or not, no matter how you agree on their approaches, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant, because they are getting what they wanted because they took the steps, they did the hard work, they did whatever they needed to do to make that happen. I'm not a Republican. I'm definitely not a Trump Republican. So, do you understand what I'm saying? So what? We got to do the same stuff.
Are you breaking up with the Democratic Party, Steve?
No, that's not what I mean. That's actually not what I mean. And I know it does sound like that. It does. It does sound like that. But no, that's not what I mean.
We need a new charge.
That's not what I mean.
We need a new charge and understanding what we do.
That's right.
I mean, for people to understand how important judges are. Look, we can make all the rules that we want.
Yeah.
Judges can rule them unconstitutional.
Yeah.
Judges can rule a different intent. Look, I know some lawyers in healthcare that wrote laws, and when it came back in court for something else, or for a case, right, in interpretation, the person who wrote it said, "Hey, that's not what I meant," and they said, "Well, that's not what you said."
Yeah.
But that's what happened.
Yeah.
And so judges get to make truth of what is written.
Yeah.
And if you have judges that are Republican sided or just, you don't even have to say party sided, but just on a side that isn't for social equality, then they're going to extrapolate from the legislation that you write stuff that's going to benefit them or what they believe, and they'll be able to stop the movement that we actually wanted. So it's important that you have people that are, that we have judges that understand what we are writing, understand what we are fighting for, and understand what our intent is so that they can legislate correctly.
Yeah.
It's important. And we're not
doing that at a democratic level.
Well, it's hard, Steve, because we're the ones fighting for change.
Yeah.
And then the other side is not fighting for change. They're fighting to keep the oppression and the systemic oppression that they want to say it doesn't exist. So now they have time to concentrate on those things.
Yeah.
And we are concentrating on making those changes, and it's just the fight that we're talking about. When you're disadvantaged, you got to try harder. Opportunity's there. You just got to work 1,000 times more.
I know Democrats work to change laws that progressively include everyone, where Republicans like to keep the same laws that benefit them, right? In the sense of how they believe, whatever it is, whether it's against abortion, whether against gun legislation, whether it's all these even the big evangelicals, right? I'm sure most evangelicals I've lived in evangelical country. I've lived in the Bible Belt. I've lived in Missouri, and I know how these guys think. I know that they're willing to look the other way on a Trump situation if they're giving him what he wants. Democrats don't do that. Democrats don't. Their guy, we've talked about this, right? Our guy has to be perfect. Our guy, I mean, look how perfect Obama had to be. He had to be perfect. He had to have the perfect family. He had to have the perfect, you know what I mean? Someone like Trump.
Right, but in this particular case, though, remember, so most of these positions people go out. I mean, most of the local politics has term limits. When we talk about judges, do you know who won judge here locally?
Yeah.
In Fresno.
You know what?
Right.
Do you remember what I did?
You met.
Do you know what did we do?
Democratic candidate.
What did we do? What did we do in the last election, Bobby?
Right.
And I'm not scared to admit it.
What?
We called you.
Okay.
I called
Right.
you. Remember
Oh,
that?
to ask, yeah.
Do you remember that? I'm not scared to admit that, and that
For
was
advice, yeah.
I had to call. I said, hey, I don't know who these judges are. Poppy, help me out here, man. And
Right.
you had to
Right.
okay, look, this judge believes it. Remember that?
Right. And when you look at it, the Democratic Party didn't support, I mean, they endorsed the judge and stuff, but they didn't find him funding. They didn't make phone calls for him.
Yeah.
They tried to, but not as much. They pushed for the other elected positions. The judge didn't have as much. On the Republican side, the judge that had a it's not supposed to be nonpartisan, but, they have a party.
Yeah.
And the Republican side, they had a lot of Republican money. And when it came down to it, the person with no experience but had commercials won.
Mm-hmm.
No, so that's, if we don't concentrate on that side, we're not going to win at all, right? And we don't go there. I mean, that's why we got to get rid of money. Then people might start looking at, your resume, your background, what you're saying, what you've done in the past, and stuff like that. But we are not concentrating on that. We are concentrating on big changes, and which is what we need. We need to do that.
Yeah.
But Steve, I mean, I know it's upsetting. But yeah, we're not concentrating on judges, and we have no firm, straight ahead plan, right?
Yeah.
We have a platform that's, reviewed every year, and then we say that's on the platform, that's a Democratic platform, that's what we're going to fight for, that's what we're going to do. Never on any of it is about the judicial branch.
Yeah, and that and it's not just judges too. It's we've trustees. It's community. City board members, and it's all of it. School board members are important.
Yeah, but we do. This is perfect example, guys. I was in Fresno. Even judges.
Yeah.
You have school board. We have a school board member here in Fresno Unified School District that has gone on campus, got in a fight with a kid, or something like that, right? In a altercation with the kid, a student, and altercation with the cheerleading squad. He's been prevented from going to the school campuses where he is the trustee of. Like, he can't enter the campus, and he's still a trustee. And the judges, they have been kind of ruling in his favor. So your judges matter when he went for the election. Yeah. And that's why the judges matter here. Donald Trump has already told us that he is not going to let Biden sit if Biden wins.
That's what he said.
And
he said it multiple times.
Having Supreme Court on his side.
Exactly.
To make those rulings on whatever he tries to find, then he may be able to do this. They are
making the case. They are making the case, Bobby. Mm-hmm. It looks to me they're making this case that they want the Supreme Court to decide November's election. That's what they're doing. That's the case they're making. They've been slowly doing it, meticulously doing it, but that seems to be the argument. And they've just seen we're headed to a Gore Bush 2000. That's where we're headed. That's what it's looking like. We're, it's just looking like that to me on the presidential level.
Right. So all we can say is you guys got to write in, tell your representatives, you want to wait, let the people speak. Use those words. There's any of those speeches you can copy and just send it over to them that you just heard earlier. And this is our fight, and we got to say hold off. Because of what this can actually do to our election cycle, what people have been speaking about. So we just want to wait till the election cycle is done. Then we can move forward with the regular business of everything else. That's all I can say. And, hats off to Ruth Bader Ginsburg for the amazing life that she led. and that we will continue to go down those paths that she blazed for us.
Yep. Anyway, I appreciate everybody for tuning in to the Steve and Bobby Show as usual. We here on the Steve and Bobby Show are, me and Bobby have talked about this several times. We're going to try to highlight some of these more important things, especially at the lower level, local levels, and probably even prior to this. And Bobby, I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but I even want to have a show talking precisely on just how to vote, and have an entire show dedicated to that. How to see if you're a registered voter, how to go. I did one on my personal Facebook page, but I want to do one like one here, a show here at Matt Talk on our show. So we'll do that. So anyway, I appreciate everybody. Stay tuned, of course, for more Mad Talk TV on the Mad Talk TV studios, filmed here in Fresno, California. Thank you for watching the Steve and Bobby Show. Make sure you tune in to every and all things Mad Talk TV. Appreciate y'all.